Hello there. In this video I'm going to show you how you can make your own personalised bracelet like this one here, and I've added 3 patterns to this bracelet. One with the letter A, so I'm assuming your name is perhaps Annette, and then a couple of astrological symbols here. One is the Aquarius and one is the Eastern astrological symbol for the year of the dog. Now the patterns and the number of these objects you decide to put on your bracelet is entirely up to you. I'm just going to show you how you can do these 3. So if we go to Fluid Designer for 3D printing, essentially we're going to use this 65mm all UK size bracelet for the top and the bottom of the bracelet, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add a alphabet Harrington font. We're going to use this letter A here for Annette, and I'm also going to append a couple of astrological symbols, an Eastern astrological symbol, this one, the dog pattern, and I'm also going to append this astrological symbol for the Aquarius. But obviously you can use any of these patterns. But what is important is that you need the box outline. I don't want this particular object here. I want the symbol with the box on the outline so that I can join up a solid object. So if I just go to File and New again, so the first thing is I want, in the bracelets folder, I want a 65mm bracelet, so that's the internal diameter. I could change that by selecting a different size here. I'm not going to do that in this instance, but that is possible. But what I do need to do is I do need to change this thickness here. At the moment that's 1mm deep and 1mm thick and 10mm deep, as we can see here in the properties panel. I want to change that to 2mm by 1mm, so it's 2mm there and 1mm thick. So if I just go view, front view for that, what I want to do is I'll just switch on screencast keys, so any key presses I make should be displayed down here. Just scrolling in with the center mouse button to switch to millimeter mode here. If I just move this up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and if I just duplicate that object and then press the enter key and move my duplicate back to the center, and then just move that down an equal amount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What we've got is a top and bottom of the bracelet, if you like. Now I'm not going to join them together because you may want to move them again later. What I want to do now, I just need to click on Group Library button here if there's no objects in view. So I want to, I don't want Harrington font first, I want an astrological symbol. So I want my Zodiac Aquarius pattern 001A. I do need the object with A on. I want to append that to my workspace next. So we do that by going to File and Append, and then you just go up through the menu system until you get to the Groups folder, and that will display all the patterns and objects that are on your system. And I want Patterns Astrological, and I want Aquarius pattern 001A. I want the object, and I'm going to append the Zodiac Aquarius pattern 001A from the library. So you see we get that object there. Now it's actually 1mm by 2mm, so it's the same setting as my bracelet setting, so that's alright. Now what I need to do is I need to rotate this about the x-axis 90 degrees first of all, so it's R on the keyboard, X to limit the rotation to the x-axis, and then 90 degrees. So that orientates the object so that I can place it on my bracelet. Now my bracelet's actually a curve, so what I'm going to do is using a modifier, so in the properties panel if I go to modifiers, if I use a curve modifier, what I want to do is to curve this around the bracelet, and I do that by curve modifier and looking for the object default inner diameter. Now there are 2 of them, the top and the bottom of this bracelet, but it doesn't matter which one I select. So it's this object here, this is the one that I've selected, and you see that that will place the Aquarius pattern there. Now one thing it has done, if you just look carefully is that it's actually switched this pattern sort of back to front. You would only see that if you look here. You can see that the wave pattern is slightly different there. So what I could do is if I just undo that curve at the moment, and if I just press R on the keyboard and Z on the keyboard and rotate it 180 degrees, so effectively I flip this backwards now, and then if I apply the curve modifier and wrap it around the default inner diameter object, so that's my curve here, you can see that the pattern is now the right way round. So that is something you do need to watch out for when you're using this curve modifier. It does tend to flip the pattern, well, it always flips the pattern the wrong way round, or almost always. So now I want to add another object here, and I want the astrological dog pattern this time, which is Eastern symbol. So if I go to File and Append, just go back up through the menu system, and I'm looking for Patterns Astrological Eastern, and I'm going to use the Zodiac Eastern dog pattern, and again I want 001A. I want the one with the border around it, and so if I highlight that object and append it from the library, you'll see that that will place it in the center there. Now the thickness of this object is not quite the same as my bracelet and my Aquarius pattern. So if I just go to curve data information, you'll see that the default setting for that is 1 by 1. If I just change that to 1 by 2, because these are curves, these are parametric smart objects, I can change that quite easily by going to the curve item, changing the bevel object. Now, like the Aquarius pattern, what I need to do with this, I need to rotate it first of all, so R on the keyboard, limit the rotation to the x-axis and 90 degrees. And again, I want to rotate it about the z-axis this time, so that the pattern is the right way round when I put it onto the bracelet. So R on the keyboard, Z to restrict the rotation to the z-axis, and 180 degrees. So I've just flipped it the wrong way round now. But when I add a curve modifier to this, and I can use the same object as last time, same object I used for the Aquarius pattern, so I can use the default inner diameter 65 millimeters, and you can see that it places the pattern there. Now if we look at these, you can see that the position of the top of each of the two boxes is slightly different. So what I want to do is to move one of them, so the dog pattern's still highlighted, and if I just switch the snap off and just move the dog pattern down until you can see that it's the same height as the Aquarius pattern, and then I'll just switch the snap back on again. So they're in the same sort of position vertically now, but clearly they're sitting on top of each other. So what I want to do really, and because I'm going to place 3 objects here, what I want to do is to rotate them and offset them by 120 degrees. Now if I try and do that at the moment, if I try and change this value here, it's just swinging around this point. So if I just set that back to 180 degrees as it was, so what I want to do is if I actually go to Tools, Object Tools, and convert this from a curve to a mesh, and you'll see it changes to a white colour, and then if I do Control A on the keyboard and apply the rotation, as I do that, these values will set back to 0. And if I do Control A and apply the location as well, what that should do is set the center of origin of the dog pattern to be the center of the bracelet. And if I now move Z, you can see I can rotate it around the bracelet. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set it at 120 degrees. So we're going to have 3 patterns at 120 degrees. That will have them equally spaced. Now I'm going to put a letter A here where the Aquarius is, so I'm going to do the same thing to the Aquarius pattern. I'm going to reposition that before I put the letter A here. So again, you go to just Tools, Object Tools, and convert that to a mesh. And if I just do Control A and apply the rotation, Control A and apply the location, and snap the cursor to the center. I don't want to go 120, I want to go 240 degrees, so I'll just type that in. So those two are spaced 120 degrees apart, and I'm going to put another object here. Now if we go and have a look at the, I'm going to use a Harrington font. If you have a look at the Harrington fonts, we've got no Harrington fonts with boxes around them. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add the Aquarius pattern again, and I'm going to delete the curve on the inside of it, and then place the letter A inside of that. So in other words, I'll have a box that's in the same position as this Aquarius pattern, but here. So if I go to File and Append, just go up through the menu system, I'll go to Patterns Astrological, so I'm going back to the Aquarius pattern object and append that from the library. So we've got that Aquarius pattern there. Now if I just go to View and Top View and just zoom in on it and press the Tab key on the keyboard to go into edit mode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the control points. So I'm holding down the Shift key and clicking on all the control points that are there for the wave part of this object, and then once I've done that, if I just hit X on the keyboard and delete all of those control points and then just press the Tab key to come out of edit mode, now what I'm going to do is add my capital letter A for Annette from the Harrington fonts. So if I just go to File and Append, just go up through the menu system until you get to Groups folder. I'm going to use the Alphabet Harrington fonts, and I want A object, so it's Harrington font A, and I just append that from the library. Now if you look at this, we just zoom in on it, you can see it's sticking out a little bit at the bottom. Well, if I want to change that, that's not a problem. I just highlight the A, press the Tab key, just zoom in and just move that control point up slightly. You may have to switch the snap off sometimes. I didn't in this case. So you just adjust that until everything fits nicely. If you wanted this to touch the side there, you could just drag that across, but I'm going to leave it at the moment. So we've got a Harrington font and we've got this object. Now they're two separate objects at the moment, but if I highlight the A and hold down the Shift key and then highlight that object, I can join these two together. So they're one object now, not two. And again, you know, these are parametric smart objects, so if you did want to change the size, which, you know, we wouldn't want to do, we want them all 2 millimeters thick, you could change the thickness, but we want them all as 1 by 2 millimeters. So all I need to do now is R on the keyboard, X on the keyboard, and 90 to rotate it about the X-axis. We want this letter A to be the right way when we put it on the bracelet outline here. So do R on the keyboard, Z to limit the rotation to the Z-axis, and 180 degrees. That just flips the A the wrong way round, but when we apply a modifier, a curve modifier like we've done before, and we curve it around the default inner diameter, our bracelet itself, that letter A will flip around. So I'm just scrolling down to find my my default inner diameter of 65 millimeters, and you can see that it nicely puts the A on there, and it is now the right way round. So all we need to do now, if we just move that properties panel out the way, we want to just select Tools, Object Tools, and convert that to a mesh. If I go to Tools, Object Tools, and convert that bracelet ring to a mesh, and Tools, Object Tools, and convert that to a mesh, and then if I now just highlight all of the objects, so 1, to 3 patterns, and then the top and bottom of the bracelet rings there, if I just join those all together now, they will all be one object. And all we need to do with that now is to export it to the desktop as a OBJ or STL file. So if I go to File and Export, I'll export it as a wavefront object to the desktop, and I'm just going to give it the name Bracelet. And we just need to wait until that's saved now. Okay, so once that's saved, what you must always do is go to Netfabb Basic and go to Project and Open. Go to the desktop, and I'm going to open the bracelet, and you must always run these through Netfabb Basic and repair them. But because we use parametric smart objects, because we basically use NURBS curves to create all of those different parts to the bracelet, Netfabb will fix any problems with this object and turn it into a 3D printable file. So just a little bit of time to load it. So you can see we've got a warning red triangle, but not to worry, because of the way we've created this, Netfabb will fix it. So you can see there are some edge problems and some holes, so we just run automatic repair, and Netfabb will just run the repair procedure and just fix some minor problems. And you see if we click update, all of those problems disappear. So you just apply the repair and remove the old part, and you've then got a file that you can send to your slicer. So part, export it as a wavefront object, and I'm just going to save it with the same name as before, Bracelet. So there's our finished bracelet, in this case with a couple of astrological symbol patterns and the letter A, but you can put anything that you want around this bracelet, and you don't have to work with the 65mm diameter bracelet. Now I should say that the 65mm was to the middle there, so you need to just take a couple of millimeters off, so the real internal diameter of that's actually 63mm, so you do need to take that into account with the object as well. So thanks for listening and watching. Good luck.